Seems like Frisco and Pearl are really starting to enjoy each other's company.
Come on, Pearl.
I don't know what got into them this morning, but
Early girl.
Pearl and Frisco tore down their electric fence in their tiny pasture, and I'm gonna have to put another bit of fence around the other section I have for them.
Pearl.
Thankfully, after taking a little tour of the property, Frisco let me catch him, and Pearl wasn't too far behind.
Oh, Pearly girl.
Even though it's still technically summer, I've been seeing a lot of animals start to prepare for winter, including a huge herd of deer.
Pearl.
Their first little pasture had plenty of grass left in it, but since they have been getting into mischief, I decided to get their second little pasture ready. This grass is really tall and they might enjoy being out here a little bit more. I have toyed with the idea of putting Pearl and Frisco out with Ziggy, Scarlet,
Frisco,
and
Bale?
Prim, but I think these two old ponies need their own space. I did decide to take down part of the fence to the small arena so they can go in here and drink from the water tank. I've got the fence all set up, and the last thing I have to do is test it to make sure that it's actually electrified. These horses don't need anything too serious, just a little reminder that they're not supposed to lean on the fence. This is a pretty handy fence tester. I'm gonna ground it and then check the fence to see how hot it is. For some reason, I couldn't get it to show up on camera, but this is coming in at 2000 volts, so it should be plenty to keep these guys in. Even though this little pasture is going to be attached to the small arena, I am going to attach it to one of the stalls and the runs on the other side, so I can just open all the doors and let these horses out every day. Currently, Pearl and Frisco are the only two horses in the barn. Everybody else is out on pasture except Nigel, who is in his own little space. Pearl and Frisco have been going out for a couple hours in the morning, and then they'll come in for breakfast/lunch. This was definitely a mistake that I didn't think about, but as I was setting up the rest of the fence, I found out that it was in fact on. It did take a while to make its way all the way down the fence, but this should be plenty of shock to keep the horses in. I'm hoping a little time to cool off this morning, and these horses will be ready to go out in a few minutes. Like clockwork, as soon as I was done setting up the fence, Tiny came over to investigate.
Where have you been?
The weather has really been cooling off, and Tiny has been extra sassy lately.
What are you doing? Scratching? Tiny. You're crazed. Pearly girl.
It looks like I have everything in order to get these horses out on their new pasture. I made a little makeshift insulated gate latch for them and tightened up the fence a little bit. This new little pasture has the best grass on the whole place, so hopefully they'll not be tempted to escape again. I have a feeling that they broke the other fence accidentally and just took the opportunity to take a little tour of the property. I think the extra pasture time has definitely been helping Pearl. She looks a lot better, and I think she is moving maybe better than she was over in her other pen. This fence looks ready to go, so these horses can come out as soon as I get everything put away. I took all of the hardware out of these rails, so I'm just gonna have to move them over, and then when these horses are done grazing on this little pasture, I can put the arena back together. There haven't been any horses out here for quite some time, so I'm gonna give this water tank a really good scrubbing. It's completely dried out, so the crusty bits are going to have to go. Pearl has been getting pretty good at figuring out where exactly I want her to go when I open her stall door, so she went right out and then in the opposite stall and then out to her new pasture. Frisco Bill wasn't far behind her. I've noticed that he's not been too excited about sharing his space with another horse. Sometimes when Pearl is not having the best day, she does get a little bit more aggressive with Frisco and she'll chase him around a little bit.
Pearl? What do you think, Pearly girl?
Frisco doesn't particularly care for this, but he's smart enough to know that when she's in a little bit of a bad mood that he needs to stay out of her way. I haven't really seen any improvement with her one leg that is a little bit hard to move around still. I've been trying to trim up her feet a tiny little bit every day, but it has gotten a lot harder for her to hold her legs up. Hopefully the extra abrasion of walking around in this smaller arena will really help keep the growth down. For anybody that might be new to the channel, Frisco is 30 years old and Pearl is 27. She is looking worlds better than when I got her, and I'm really excited that she is finally able to start living her retirement as a more normal horse. I think Frisco's happy to have the company as well.
Oh, Pearl! Frisco Bill? Hey, Pearl. Pearl. Frisco Bill. Up, Pearly girl. It's all right, old boy.
After turning the horses out, Tiny came over to make sure that they were getting along okay. This time of year,
Oh,
there's a lot more mouse
ow,
activity
Penny.
around the barn for Tiny. Everybody's preparing for winter, so she is typically up all night long. I'm kind of surprised she's awake right now, but it definitely looks like she is staying fit and trim and on top of her game. One nice thing about these older horses is they will run around for a tiny little bit, but then they settle down pretty quickly. Believe it or not, I've already started in on my fall/winter chores, preparing for the change of seasons. In the morning, I do some chores in the barn. I clean out Frisco and Pearl's stall and their run. They have been laying down in their stalls, which is nice to see for Pearl because she was getting some bed sores at the other place.
Penny.
It's really nice that I can bed them extra deep and then they can have a nice soft space to lay. While I do save a lot of time by having all of the horses out on pasture, the stalls start to get overgrown with weeds if there's no horses in them. I may move Frisco and Pearl over to the other side of the barn just to keep the weeds down.
Oh, watch out, buddy. Pearl? That is a weed, girl. Kidding me?
With all of the nice grass out here, it looks like Pearl is insistent on finding all of the weeds and snacking on those instead. Since making the move to the big barn, she has been continuing to eat pretty well. I think she's probably the perfect size to go into winter. With an old horse like Pearl that does have some arthritis and trouble moving their legs, you do want to make sure that they don't get too overweight. I would love to see Pearl gain some more muscle mass on her top line, but for a horse of her age, she is looking pretty darn good.
Frisco Bill, watch your eyeballs, buddy.
Frisco is also at the age where he's starting to have a little bit of trouble putting on extra weight. I have noticed with both of them when they started their PPID medicine, they did slim up pretty quickly. All of the unnecessary fat pads kind of melted away and they're left with a much slimmer and trimmer body. Since Nigel has had a little bit more trouble with his eyes, I spoke to the vet about it and we will be bumping up his PPID
Leaves.
medication and hopefully that will help.
Where did you even find leaves, buddy?
One thing that's not ideal about this tiny pasture is the different types of trees that are in here. I've never had the horses eat the fruits off of these trees, but I'm going to keep a very close eye on these two because it's something they definitely should not be eating. I do think that they have enough grass to keep them distracted for a couple of weeks, and I'll probably be able to turn them out here for a couple hours every day until probably the middle of September. I think at this point Pearl is probably as good as she's gonna get soundness wise. Both Frisco and Pearl are on a daily anti-inflammatory as well as some Adequan a couple times a year. I have found this to be the best combination for horses of this age. There are tons of supplements that you can feed them, but these two in particular are kind of picky and I don't want them to go off their feed because of the additional supplements that I could put on their rations. I did start Frisco on a different type of complete feed and Pearl is still on the senior feed, and then I've added in some of the complete unbeatable feed to that as well, and she seems to really like that combination.
Belly, buddy.
As soon as I start soaking the feed, Pearl won't eat it, but Frisco will not eat it dry, so they're a little bit different in that aspect. Both Frisco and Pearl are still getting the majority of their calories from their alfalfa hay. I haven't had any trouble with them and their feet since turning them out on these little pastures. Frisco will still take an odd step every now and then that seems to not feel quite right, but I think he is still definitely on the upswing from his laminitis flare-up earlier this year. I haven't seen Pearl have any flare-ups, so I think her previous problem might just have been because of her untreated PPID and the fact that she was getting some pretty high sugar concentrated feed, I'm guessing. Both Ziggy and the girls were interested in checking out what was going on over here today. I think I could probably turn Pearl out with them, but Frisco definitely prefers to have his own little space where he can be alone and not bothered. Although Pearl does run around quite a bit when she's first turned out, she is pretty slow moving once she goes along. For the most part, Scarlet and Prim are pretty low key, but they do get galloping around every once in a while in their pasture. Ziggy has learned his place in the little herd, and he seems to be getting along pretty well with those two girls. Here you can kind of see how wobbly Pearl is on that right hind leg still. I've got my vet coming out to do some checking on the teeth, and I think I'm going to have her check Pearl's soundness as well. The vet that does the teeth is also a chiropractor, so she might have some good insight into things I can be doing to help Pearl out. With those two situated for a few hours, I'm going to check on the boys. I don't know what kind of shenanigans these boys are getting into at night, but Studman keeps pulling his shoes off, so I pulled the front ones the other day and gave him a little trim. He seems to be staying sound, so I'm going to keep a close eye on him, and I might not have to put shoes back on him. I got a few questions about the water tank in one of my previous videos and why I let it overflow. This time of year, it's typically very dry out, and I want the horses' hooves to stay nice and moisturized, so that is one of the reasons I do that. The other is to keep the bugs down when they lay their eggs on the top of the water. If you overflow it, then they just run out and they can't hatch. The little pasture that Ziggy, Scarlet, and Prim are out on is getting a little bit crispy. Their gate has been open for a few hours now, but they're still kind of mulling around, finishing their breakfast.
Hey, Prim. Girl.
I am kind of waiting on these three to leave their dry lot so I can drag it today. There really aren't too many bugs around this year, but it's still nice to make sure these dry lots are maintained. This summer has been a little bit weird. We've been getting lots of rain and lots of moisture that we usually don't get. If you guys remember last year around this time, we had tons of smoke from the wildfires.
Pearl. Pearly girl.
It looks like this girl is pretty happy to get back out on some really tall grass. Another thing that I've noticed about Pearl as she's gained a lot more muscle is she does have an old injury to her right shoulder. You can kind of see a little bit of dimple in the muscle there, but she definitely had an accident at one point. That could certainly be contributing to the problem she's been having balancing on her hind end as well.
Little boy. Got bugs?
Frisco is very much like Ziggy in that he would prefer the company of humans over other horses. I did decide to get some boots for Frisco that are more lightweight therapy boots. I think I'm going to get Ziggy a pair of the same ones for trail riding.
Frisco Bale.
Here lately, I've been taking a lot of time away from the computer and editing, and my neck and back feels so much better. I'm trying to come up with a schedule that I can stay on while also keeping you guys updated with all of the things that are going on around here.
You don't like her?
Typically, after about 2 hours, Frisco is ready for his real breakfast, and he lets me know by coming back into the barn. This is one of the reasons that I think he would be too stressed if he was turned back out with the other horses. When he was much younger, he lived out in big herds of horses all the time, but it's a little bit different now that he's so old. He needs to have free access to his alfalfa and then his special meals. Hopefully he's just taking a little nap and he'll go out and graze a little bit more today before I have to bring them in. I watched him for a little while and it seemed like he was pretty content just to stand in his stall. He does enjoy a good midday nap, and I think he was getting annoyed with Pearl chasing him all around their little pasture. Hopefully as time goes on, these two will start to enjoy each other's company a little bit more, but if they don't, they can certainly still stay separate in their own personal stalls and runs.
What are you doing, girl?
It looks like after a while, Pearl got a little bit concerned about Frisco and she came in to check on him. You can see on her side that she has been liking the stall as well. She lays down right in her poop piles. She still has some sores on her legs, but they're getting better now that she has figured out how to lay down in her stall. It does look like even though Frisco is out on the grass, he is having a little bit of a down day today. The weather is a little bit on the gloomy side, so that could be something that's bothering him a little bit. I'm not nearly as old as he is, but on days like this, I can certainly feel aches and pains from my younger days. We had a few days of some pretty crazy weather. Prim did get herself in a little bit of a tussle with something and scraped up her leg. This morning, Huckleberry and I are working on getting the arena in better shape, just trying to catch up in between the thunderstorms.
What's wrong, old boy? She being mean to you? She being nasty to you, old boy?
As the days go on, Frisco is getting less and less impressed with Pearl. Most days she does want to run around a little bit, and if Frisco's in the way, she just bulldozes through.
Mayor! Pearly girl!
He also cannot
Girl.
process the grass like she can. He is missing quite a few teeth. It seems
Frisco
like if I
Bill.
try and get them out for more
Come on,
than
boy.
2 hours, Frisco is ready to come in after just a short amount of time.
Come on, Pearl! Come on, Pearly girl! Come on! Pearl! Pearl! Come on there! Come on, Frisco Bill! Wow, buddy! Come on, boy! Hurry! Oh, boy! Oh, buddy! Oh, she's being nasty to you, isn't she? Go on, buddy. Pearly! Come on, Pearl. Come on, Mare. Come on, let's come in.
I'm not too sure if Pearl could sustain herself by being turned out with the other girls and Ziggy. If she continues to be too mean to Frisco Bill, that is a route that I might take. She could certainly spend the day being turned out with them and then come in at night and have her own special meals next to Frisco. I'm not sure if Frisco would like being just friends with Nigel during the day, so that's something I'm
Food,
going to
Pearly?
have to think about for the future. Here is what Pearl's meal has been looking like. It's just the senior feed with the
I got your
unbeatable.
food, buddy. Hold on.
Frisco has been getting the total equine. This is the low NSC kind, which is still honestly a little bit high in sugar for him, but it soaks super fast and it's easy for him to chew, and it's been a lot better for him than just the plain alfalfa pellets. I initially bought this for Pearl, but she will not eat it, so Frisco is happy to scarf it down. This is a complete feed, so he does not have to get any extra vitamins or minerals. As long as he can continue to process his alfalfa hay, then he should be okay on this feed. Caring for
Boy.
these special seniors does take a little bit of extra time, and I do find myself tweaking their feeding program quite often. I feel a little bit like I haven't done too much this summer and it's almost fall already. Our house hunt is in full swing and we're getting closer and closer to finding the perfect place. It will be a huge deal for us to move all of the animals to a new place, especially if we end up buying something that's not in Montana. I'm feeling more confident every day that we are going to find a property this year that we will be able to move to before winter comes. Pearl doesn't seem overly impressed with me these days. I think she's happy just to be healthy and have all of her needs met. I'm hopeful that her next visit will allow me to get her maybe a little bit more sound than she is right now.
Frey? Hi, Joel. Come here. Hi, Joel. Hi, Joel.
With all of the horses having their own friends, I've been thinking more and more about getting Nigel a little buddy. It's a really tricky thing to manage, especially since Nigel is a stallion, but I think I'm going to keep my eyes open in case the perfect match comes up.
You old boy. Go.
Thank you guys so much for watching and stay tuned for the next video.